Read.
Junk.
Read.
Junk.
Read.
Junk.
Read.
Junk.
Welcome to another edition of the ReadJunk podcast. I am your host, Brian Kremko, and this week I'm taking a little break from playing music. Over the weekend, I sat down with Steve from Scagnetti, the Connecticut ska band that have recently been playing shows again and stuff like that. I went and drove out to Clifton, New Jersey, where they were playing at the Clash Bar. And we sat down and talked in the car for about an hour. It was a good conversation. There wasn't really any place to go, so the car was the best bet. Plus, it was kind of raining for like the 100th day in a row, so we couldn't do it outside. Plus, I didn't want to really talk outside when people were probably around anyway. But the show was great. I mean, it was the first time I saw them in like 19 years. They were just awesome. Brought back a lot of memories of seeing them from over the years. I got some photos of the show on scoutpunkphotos.com. I didn't really do a review or anything, but I just kind of took some pictures and stuff. I only saw about 2 bands, so it was, since it was such a late show, Sergeant Scagnetti didn't get on until about like 11 o'clock. So I was like, I couldn't, apologies to the other bands, but I wasn't going to stick around. I was mainly there for Sergeant Scag anyway. It was funny. I was walking out of the club and I saw something black. Like, I thought it was like a statue or something like this by the entranceway. It ended up being like this guy in his gimp outfit, like from Pulp Fiction. I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. That was the first time I've ever seen that and going to a show. But the conversation with Steve was good. We talked about how the band got back together, you know, the history of the band, how Steve joined the band. We talked about the scene a little bit, the new songs. We talked about Music PA and CC's when they used to play there all the time. We talked about New Haven and its so-called best pizza in the country. And at the end, we play a little game of Goldblum Trivia. It's a good talk, so have a listen. This is Steve from Sergeant Scag right here on the ReadJunk podcast.
Mama always tells me that when I moved out going far, and when I grew up I would be a superstar.
All right. So, this is the first time you've been back in New Jersey in a long-ass time.
This is the first time we're back in New Jersey since, I'm going to say, 1999.
So, yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. That's I think I'm not real good at math, but let's just call that 20 years.
Why the hell did it take so long?
Oh, man, why did it take so long? That's a fair question. So we, essentially stopped being a band, I think in early 2000 or late 99, whatever that was. And, we did a reunion show in 2010 back in Connecticut. Did a couple shows.
On and off kind of stuff you've been doing.
Yeah, so that was just like, I think a week. Like we did 3 shows in 4 days or something. And it was all Connecticut.
Yeah, that's why I haven't seen you.
And it was all Connecticut. And then we did a show, I think in 2012, also in Connecticut. And then we didn't do anything. And then so I guess now what had happened was we got asked to do the Supernova Ska Festival a couple of years back.
Oh.
And we just could, it was like a couple months out when they asked us, and we were sort of like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. Not everybody was on board, but so finally we ended up just, I called Richie and said, hey man, we should get together, get our lives in order enough to where when we do get a phone call like that, we got asked to play some other shows too, like some cool local shows in Connecticut, like in bigger rooms, like opening for Real Big Fish or whoever, and we were like, that'd be fun. And so we were just like, let's get our act together enough so that when that phone call comes, like we're ready to go, And so we just started doing that. We just started practicing and trying to write some songs and stuff. And then, I don't know, we're still trying to figure out, like, why haven't we come to New Jersey sooner? Like, mainly, I think just we couldn't get a show. We couldn't find anybody to
It's tough
bring
with
us
venues
in.
these days. Yeah. It's either the bigger venues like Starland Ballroom or they just opened up one in Jersey City. But
Whitehall.
Yeah, White Eagle Hall. Yeah. And then there's one in Teaneck, down the road here. It used to be Mexicali, and used to serve Mexican food.
Sure.
And then they changed it, and now it's like Debonair Music Hall.
Yeah, I'm familiar. I'm trying to like get back in the groove of because I actually handle most of our booking. So
yeah.
Just that's been like the big learning experience. Is like, well, how does it work in modern times? Like, how do you even get booked? I'm from the days when you had to put a CD in a manila envelope and put your
you're
press release and a picture of yourself, and that's how you got shows. And you call the club.
Yeah.
You had to know who the guy was and call him, and he had to be there, and then you maybe get a show.
You're sending out radio IDs for podcasts. I thought that was pretty funny, but hey, I used it.
Yeah.
I used it last.
We find
week or
people
so.
really like those. I mean, we've got access to to some decent recording equipment. I'm like, well, why don't we do some station drops? Like,
Yeah, it sounded pretty good. Yeah,
I think we're getting some airplay all over the place and I think it's like maybe they like our song, but I also think it's like we're saying the name of their show and they dig that, right? Not everybody takes the time to do that. So,
so what made you guys want to get back into this? Like, it seemed like you're kind of doing it more, not full time, but doing it like weekend kind of. You guys are weekend warriors, I guess.
Yeah, we're like monthly weekend warriors. I don't know, man. I felt like I had a couple Scagnetti songs in my head that I wanted to get out, and so I had Richie come over and we played around and we spit a couple of them out. And I think around that same time was when we got the phone call saying, hey, we'd love you to come down to Virginia and play this big festival. And so then we were like, all right, well, we got to put a couple shows around that. We can't just, that can't be the first show we do. So we played a couple local Connecticut shows, and then you want to, before the Connecticut shows, you want to warm up, right? You don't want that to be your first show. So maybe you book a show in Albany or or you go up and play out in Pennsylvania just to get the cobwebs off.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, you got 8-10 shows on the docket, and everybody in my band's like, is this what we're doing now? Like, okay.
Hey, there's kind of like a fourth wave of ska going on right now, so it's kind of
That's what's funny. A bunch of people have asked me, like, so was that in anticipation of that? Like, did you guys see that coming? And I honestly, I didn't at all. I just, again, I had a couple songs in my head that I felt like were Scagnetti songs. But yeah, the timing's kind of funky, man. It's cool. Like we're diving back in, and all of a sudden now I'm seeing commercial radio playing some ska bands, and the Boston's put out a record, and it looks like it was really smart timing on our part, but it was pretty random.
There's been a ton of ska albums that have been released this year. It's all around the summertime too. It's like
the summer of ska hashtag.
Yeah.
Something.
So you did some shows in Connecticut, like mainly like New Haven, like
we did. Yeah, I mean, it was in Hamden and New Haven, which is the same thing.
Hamden.
Yeah,
I know. I know it well. My wife went to Quinnipiac for masters.
She went to Quinnipiac.
So I would drive from Middletown, New York, on a Friday night because it was the first year of dating. We would drive down and just be pissed off with the Connecticut traffic on 84, just stop and go. So, but I found a way of going down. And I think I went through your hometown of Seymour, I think, right?
Yeah, you were taking 34. You're going 84 to 34 to downtown New Haven.
It was like around a dam kind of thing. And I'm like,
I know it well.
So every time I would drive through Seymour, I'm like, oh, sorry, Scagnetti hometown.
Yeah, man. P.O. Box 99, Seymour, Connecticut. I don't think that's ours anymore.
Okay, I have to ask about Connecticut. What is with the yellow lights? They go so quick.
They do. I don't know if they all do.
It was definitely in Hamden.
Hamden's got a quick yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that.
That's mainly what I remember is like the on and off traffic and then the yellow lights. Not the pizza, which you declare,
It's the best in the world, man. I'll fight anybody. I don't care. I'm in New Jersey right now.
I actually did Google that the other day. I'm like, okay, I guess there is a few lists that has like at least 4 or 5 New Haven pizza places.
Yeah, I'm a Sally's guy. Sally's forever.
Sally's.
Yeah, Sally's Pizza.
I've only been to New Haven like twice, and that was for like tune-in.
So you got it.
Pilfer show.
What about your wife, man? She went to Quinnipiac. She's not repping New Haven Pizza?
No, I don't think she really. I really don't know if she actually went to New Haven all that much. She just kind of did 1 year of masters and then got out.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
she wasn't there for undergrad.
But I was there for the weekends, and we would just hang out and like go to movies or go up to like Sleeping Giant or something.
Sleeping Giant State Park.
Yeah.
A lot of Mike DiMatteo, Carmela, and Dave, who are in the band now, are all Hamden residents.
Okay.
Actually, Carmen, Mike grew up, went to Hamden High School. Dave and Carmen just happen to live in Hamden now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hamden's a good town. We like Hamden. We're fans.
Where else? So who else is in the band? So we got Dave and Jesse, who used to be in the old band.
Right. Jesse was in the band. I think he's the original guitar player. I wasn't around then.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I actually, the first ska show I went to in 1996 was Sarge Scagnetti, and it was the original lineup of like, had to be like 10 guys and people in the band.
There was a lot of people in the band, yeah. They were a big band.
And I ended up buying the demo tape, which I still have, which I gave to Jesse. And
you know what's funny? I've been pushing for us to play a song or two off the
Yes,
demo, because we
please.
get asked all the time. And Dave and Richie, who are on the demo, are sort of they're like, I don't know, man. I don't know about those songs. And so Jesse actually brought it to practice a couple weeks ago
That would be
and
because
uploaded
of
it
me,
to our
yeah.
Dropbox. And we all listened to it on the way home. And unfortunately, everybody was like, nah, man, I don't see us doing any of those songs. And I was like, I think people think because I wasn't on it that I would be like, no, let's not do those. Like, I would love to do those because I was a fan of the band.
Yeah.
Before I was in the band, like I knew Danny really well. I was good friends with the old guitar player Danny, or the new and then old guitar player
Yeah.
Danny, and I knew Dave from growing up, and I was psyched to go see those guys. Like when they
really?
started playing shows, like they're playing big venues, and so I was going to the shows and checking them out. So I love those songs, man.
Yeah, like Piece of Action and what's the first one? Observation? No.
Is it Bird of Prey?
Bird of Prey, yeah.
Yeah.
That I like that one.
I have no
like,
beef with those songs, man.
I know. It's like Jay did a good job singing with it, but I think you
Absolutely.
can handle it.
I think I can figure it out. I'm sure. I think you got to talk to Dave and Richie though, man. They're the guys that are putting the veto on it.
Yeah. Well. So I mean, you have two. You just released 2 new songs.
Yep.
Are you working on like a full length or?
I don't know if we're ever going to get to a full length. I don't know, because it took us a while to get those 2 songs recorded and out. We definitely want to keep writing, and we are. We just sort of, like you said, we're kind of weekend warriors, right? And a bunch of people have little kids in the band, so you know how that goes. Life is
Very busy.
Is busy.
Yeah.
And so one of the things we said when we got back together is like, this can't become painful or annoying, right? Because we don't make enough money for it to be either of those 2 things. So it's got to be fun. So we've been trying to find that balance between like how many shows do we book, how far away do we go, how often do those things happen. And I think we've gotten to a point now where we've played like enough shows where we're like, all right, we need to write some new songs, because the new songs are really fun to play.
Yeah.
I don't know if ever, the oldest Skag fans are like appreciative of them or not. I think so. People have had nice things to say generally. But we want to write some new songs. So we just got back like a couple practices ago. We were struggling. People in bands will understand that well. Everybody was bringing some ideas. Nothing was clicking. And then finally, 2 practices ago, like something worked. And we were like, okay, this is a really, really good song. So we feel like we got pretty good momentum. I think an EP might be realistic.
Yeah.
I think maybe the next 2 songs, if we really like them, maybe like a 7-inch would be reasonable.
Yeah, some
That's the
people are
other
still
thing
doing
is, like,
cassettes now. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the media is that we should put it out on. We still get asked,
The
5 people at every
streaming now.
show are like, do you guys have CDs? And we don't anymore. We sold them and we didn't get them reprinted.
Just do download cards or something.
We got the 2 new songs on download cards. People will grab them. But our stuff's on, all the places that don't pay you very well to stream your music.
Yeah, the Spotify.
Yeah, we're on the Spotify, we're on the iTunes, and
I was waiting for that. Finally.
It takes a while. You got to
Yeah.
partner with some guy. You got to pay him blood money, and then they get you in.
And then you get that nickel when someone listens to it 20,000
nickel.
times.
Sweet nickel. Yeah, we've gotten the nickel.
So what are the 2 songs about? I mean,
So the 2 songs that we released on the download card, the first is called Murder House, and it is about so there's a house in Derby, Connecticut, which you also drove through on 34.
I've probably driven through it,
And kind of on the other side of town. So when I was a kid, like the early 80s, a family got murdered in this house in Derby. I don't remember the details of it, but it's like some terrible thing, like a grandma and a little kid. And
So it's like an urban legend kind of thing where it's...
that was real.
Oh, I mean, well, like people talked about it.
Yeah,
like,
it was a big deal, right? Small town. And I wasn't old enough to understand like what was happening, but I just, where the house was stuck with me, and it's near a highway. So I drive by it a lot. And every single time there's a line in the song, me and my wife drive by and say Murder House. And like, that's what we would do. Like if the car ride was silent and we weren't talking about something else, like as you pass the house, you would say Murder House. Because people live there now as if a family wasn't murdered there. And that always kind of blew my mind. So we just wrote a song about like what it must be like to live in a house where innocent people were murdered, and now you're just living your normal, mundane life.
That sounds exactly like a house that was right up the road from me. There was like an infamous murderer, serial killer called Nathaniel White.
Sounds Sounds like a bad dude.
Yeah, and he just dumped a bunch of bodies in Goshen, New York, and where I was from, and I remember going to take a hike up there. So, and I think the day that he they discovered a body, I took a hike up there with I was like, a little kid, but and we decided not to go that way. If we went that way, we would have found the dead body.
Whoa.
But now
you'd have a song to write about that.
Yes, so it was.
I didn't know these guys.
It was definitely like a haunted house kind of type of thing. So it was by the highway, and it finally like burnt down like 2 years ago, and now they're building Legoland there.
We're getting a Legoland?
Yeah, they're gonna be building a Legoland.
Like one of those ones, like an amusement park Legoland?
Yeah, like Legoland.
Legit.
Yeah, so...
Sorry, the dad in me is excited about that.
So if like rides go mysteriously wrong, you might...
Oh, yeah, haunted Legoland, yeah.
Because a lot of people like would do ghost hunting and stuff like there.
Spirits and all that stuff, allegedly?
Because the house that was there, it was like an old house, like farmhouse. So all the windows, and there was like no second floor. And it's just like it burnt down mysteriously. Probably to people that... There was another house that's like right by it that always hated people coming there to ghost hunt and stuff. So they probably burned it down and probably get insurance money for it.
Yeah, they took care of it.
But it's very, very... I guess there's got to be a murder house in every
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully that appeal, people get it. Like, there's always those famous spots, right?
Yeah.
Like where something terrible happened, and then like life has to continue, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, and so I guess it's sort of about that. Okay. And then the other track is called Funai Electric, and it is so Funai Electric was the last company in Japan to make VCRs. They stopped production in 2015, I think. The line is I forget.
Late.
Yeah, well, that's why I wrote the song. It blew my mind because they sold 850,000 or 700. How's the damn song go? 750,000 units in 2015.
Be singing it soon.
Yeah. When the music's playing, hopefully I'll remember it. But yeah, they sold 750,000 units in 2015.
Oh.
And so as the line goes, who's buying VCRs? And so the song's about sort of retro culture and the vinyl resurgence. And,
yeah, I never liked vinyl, but I like it as a like artist aspect of it with the big artwork. But other than that,
it's
never liked
super
vinyl.
impractical.
Yeah, it's like it always like to skip a song. It's about the whole listening experience. I don't know.
It's super impractical and really expensive.
Yeah,
and now you can go into like Urban Outfitters, and they'll sell you records that used to be, $6.95 for $40 or something. They still
have some record stores like Vintage Vinyl down in Jersey, on the Garden State Parkway.
I get it. It's cool for bands that now, I grew up in a time where we made money and lived off selling people CDs for $10 a pop. And, if you had a good show, you could sell, 30, 40, 50 CDs in a night, and that was a really good night. And
now you need T-shirts. And
and even that seems like is a little less. The merch was a big deal, but it's vinyl for that purpose is cool, right? I think a lot of people that want to support music will buy the vinyl. I don't think they listen to it, but I think it's like a collector thing. Like I own this thing, and the band made it, and like you said, the artwork is cool, and so it allows us to charge money, allows a band to charge its fans money, and good fans want to give the bands they like money. For what they do. So the vinyl for that purpose is cool, but I don't know. They'd be better off just giving me $10 and a high five, because I don't feel like they're going back and listening to the record. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I know some people listen to records, but I'm fine with MP3s. I mean, that seems like it's going to be going away soon. It seems like iTunes is going to close down their store. There's always rumors about it, and it's like, well, that's going to just hurt a lot of bands that make money off of that.
Well, I think the whole
Bandcamp, but
the whole thing. I mean, the way Facebook and YouTube are now changing their algorithms to it's really hard.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah,
to get clicks and get notices, and the guy in the band part of me is like, oh, that's crap, man, because, but then again, I don't know, man, these guys have a website. Well, who are you to use their free website and complain about the way it goes?
Yeah,
I don't know,
but I think they have way too much power, and
absolutely.
It's same thing with Twitter, and it's like, oh, well, you said this, you're not allowed to be on here, but you're okay. You can.
Yeah.
It's something needs to be regulated for these big sites like Amazon.
Man, even us Facebook is we have whatever we have, 600, 700 people who follow us on Facebook. Not a huge
and probably
following.
100 people probably see your posts.
Exactly. And then when if I pay Facebook their blood money, then like 500 will see it. But like still not everybody that follows us.
See, I would do that. I would do that for my T-shirts that I would design, and I would pay posts. But I found that even just paying $5 for a week, it's just like people from like weird countries that don't even like, they just like the image. They don't actually want and go and go through the process of buying a shirt. So I just found it was kind of just pointless.
Not fruitful.
Yeah, it's just like it's not really spending money on it.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what the trick is, man. I mean, that's we play locally. We still, when we were playing those New Haven shows, it's like you'd walk around New Haven and our band flyer was the only thing up on telephone poles, and because nobody flyers anymore. But like we don't know how
they take it down.
We don't know how not to do that though, because we're like, well, I'd rather spend $8 at Staples and get a couple hundred copies and throw it in every coffee shop and pizza joint in town than give Facebook $10 to like allegedly boost a post. And you can look at the data. I don't know how valid it is.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I still do my website as far as getting like free movies and CDs and stuff to review, but is to help out bands that I've liked over the years, like you guys, that it's like you guys are playing a show, I'll share it and post it on my website.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why it's kind of, I don't do it as much, especially now doing this podcast. I'm like, I don't feel like reviewing a CD.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll just talk about it instead and play some songs from it. But yeah.
I don't know, man. The technology part of the game is tricky. And we played a show in New Haven, and I had to do we used that time to make a video to promote another show,
right? Like
with the crowd in back, and it got lots of hits and it was funny and whatever. But we have to be cognizant of that. Like I'm playing a show, and then I have to think, all right, we need to stop the show real quick and make a video that can be used to help promote.
Well, just you speaking in front of the camera is it will get more views if it's a video.
It's got to be moving pictures. So
yeah,
which is fine. But it's all just figuring out that's how the game works now.
Yeah, it's like this one band that I'm wearing a T-shirt of, Carbon Leaf. They used to do a podcast where they would talk about band stories and stuff like that. They would do all videos of just like, hey, we're playing this show and such and such, just like a 30 second clip of just saying, hey, we're playing these shows on Facebook, and that's it gets a lot of views that way. So they're kind of, I think more and more bands need to go that way, I think, in order to be seen. So
so it's a lot. It's that's the part where it's
a lot more work. Yeah,
it's a lot of work, and it's I don't know.
It's like, all right, it's a second job again.
It starts to become a little bit of a grind, for sure.
So, but you actually did get down to Supernova Ska Fest. We did,
which was really awesome that we were invited there, and I'm sure it was some kind of inside job where somebody knew somebody and put something in for us.
Probably Matt Flood.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Flood and Asbestos had something to do with it. I don't know. The guy that helped us load in was from Hartford, and he had mentioned that he used to come see us. So I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of really, really good bands that have been doing it for a long time, that are full-time professional bands that played that show. And we are not that. So it was awesome that we were allowed to even be there, and it's been really helpful.
I saw some photos of you guys, with the little hats on, whatever you want.
It's been we handed out for a couple hundred foam swords.
Nice.
Tried to reignite the Civil War. People were like, dude, people don't really think that's funny down here. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But we, it was cool, man. And it's helped us be able to, I think, get a lot of other shows and lend a little bit more credibility than we probably deserve. So hopefully we can get another one of those someday.
If they do one, but other festivals,
Yeah.
I
think they're going to do it. They're going to take a year off, and I think they're going to crank it up again. I don't expect that we would be invited back based off our antics, but
you did Ska Palooza in 2012. You played the Connecticut Day.
Yeah, we played the Connecticut Day with Spring Hill Jack, Pilfers, Pie Tasters.
I know the New York City one was good with and this Goldfish and like the bands I used to listen to. I mean, still listen to, but I was like, Sergeant Scagnetti's playing over there too. I'm like, damn it, that's like New Haven's just too far away.
No worries, man.
Yeah. But going back, I mean, so how did you get into ska?
I didn't, right? So like I had mentioned, so I'm sure a lot of ska fans are like, this, I don't want to hear this, but like never even heard of this stuff. I was telling the band a couple weeks ago, we were just BSing about life, and I remember, like I said, I knew the guys. I knew Danny and Dave, right? And so I knew they were in a band called Sergeant Scagnetti. I didn't know much about the history of ska, or I didn't even understand that was happening, right? It was a huge scene that had developed and was developing at that time.
What were you listening
to?
Late
90s. I was a hip hop kid growing up, man.
Oh,
like,
really?
and it's funny. We were just knocking vinyl, but like, I was really into hip hop DJing. So I was like in a record pool out of the Bronx, and I was like super into, Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul and all that
Naughty
sort of
by
suburban. Nature. Yeah, sure. Little Naughty by Nature, all that stuff. And I was working at a college radio station when I was in high school, like on the hip hop show. And
what college radio?
So it's WXCI 91.7 in Danbury, Connecticut.
Is it Western Connecticut?
Yeah, Western Connecticut. So
I went to go look at that school.
Yeah. So I just was, rolling through the dial one night and found they were playing some stuff that I liked, and I called them and I was like, hey, I didn't even know where Danbury was at the time. Like, growing up in Seymour, Connecticut is, it's like 40 minutes away, but it could have been 6 hours away. And I was just like, hey, can I come there and hang out? And they were nice enough to let me come up. So I ended up going to school there, like literally just off that. So anyway, I was at WestCon at the time. I was going to check out Scagnetti shows, and it was cool. I remember one of the first shows I went and saw them with, they played with the Toasters. So that was pretty eye-opening, because I remember Cooley was like...
Oh, you saw
just,
with Cooley.
Just tearing shit up. And I was like, okay. Because I was a hip-hop kid and I listened to a lot of dance hall and stuff like that, like, that was like, oh, okay, so this sort of rides that line. So I was like super interested in that. Because, Scagnetti went on first, and I knew those guys, and it was just cool, right?
Yeah.
They were playing at Toad's Place in New Haven, which is, a pretty famous club. So I was like, oh man, these guys are playing Toad's. That's a big deal.
Is that still open?
It's still open. It's getting its butt kicked a little bit by some newer clubs that have come out. College Street Music Hall is getting a lot of big shows. The Space Ballroom over at Hamden.
The Tune-In is closed, right?
The Tune-In, unfortunately, is very much closed.
Yeah.
When we played our New Haven show, we played at a place called Pacific Standard Tavern, which is like 3 blocks away from where the Tune-In used to be. And we actually promoted the show with Fernando, who used to own the Tune-In. But yeah, man, I saw the Toasters, and like, so just what Cooley was doing was close enough, like working the crowd to a hip hop show where I was like, okay, this is cool. And there was a band called Two Skinny Jays. I don't know if you remember those guys. And that was pretty much live hip hop for all intents and purposes. So I was like, okay, like there's some stuff going on here that I didn't know about. It was very different from like, the hip hop stuff I was listening to. And then I got into it through the band, right? So when the band just needed a singer, and I was talking with Danny at a show, I think we were at the Globe Theater in Norwalk, and I went to see them open for whoever.
I saw you guys play there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Category 5 Pilfers, I think.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at it on my website the other day, and I had a review of it still. So
oh, nice.
It's just funny seeing just my response of like, this band sucks. It's like,
you're very opinionated.
Oh yeah, I'm like, some of it is like, I better censor myself a little bit now, the way social media is now these days with some things, but
felt more protected back then, right?
Yeah, it was a lot more open. Well, I mean, I got a lot more death threats back then.
Bad review from Ska Punk and Other Junk. People come looking for you.
Yep.
Yeah?
A lot of skinheads were like, I'm gonna fuck you up. And
yeah. Well, actually, you know what? That's funny, man. I remember and it's funny. We're in Jersey, so I remember Jersey being like, Jersey is just a more dangerous place than Connecticut, like in a variety of places.
Yeah, Clifton is not. Yeah,
and I don't even mean just like like it's the hood versus not, but just like I felt like Jersey kids were like a little more like the ska scene, and the skinheads and all that stuff related to it was a little more real here than some other places we would go.
Yeah, I guess a little more suburban. I guess Connecticut.
Yeah,
unless you're in Bridgeport or something.
We're just softer, right? We're just like life was easier. I don't know. Like Jersey always seemed a little tougher, like a little more real. Like you could really get messed up. Whereas Connecticut, I think it was wasn't real.
Yeah,
I don't know. So what the hell was I talking about?
The band,
So then I got into it, just from playing with bands, and so got open, to like we'd open for the Pie Tasters, and we'd open for the Toasters, and we'd open for Blue Meanies and MU330, and those bands made a lot of sense to me, but it wasn't something that I had been paying attention to, before at all.
So how did you get asked to be in the band? Like what happened to the original band? Do you know? Like what happened, why they broke up or anything, or like kind of just change things around? Because I remember then it was like a year later, and then you guys were like, this is a whole new lineup.
yeah. I to be honest with you, man, I don't know. I just remember, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble here, but I remember at that show, it was a Scagnetti show, and Danny who was the guitar player at the time, knew that I had been in some bands, like doing some like live hip hop stuff, and he knew I wrote lyrics, but I had never sang, like ever.
Wow.
Like not even in the shower, like. So, but he knew. I think he just knew that I had this capability of being a front man. And he was like, dude, do you have any interest in being in this band? Because I think we're going to need a singer.
Certain personalities, you know.
Man, I was like, well, I'm interested in being in a band for sure. And the fact that you guys are like a real band, like you're playing places, is super exciting. But I don't know that I can sing. Like, I literally don't know if I can. And so I think at that show, he was like, dude, just come over to my house, tomorrow or next week or whatever it was. And we got a couple songs that we're working on, and like, we'll see if you can sing. So I remember, like, I sat on Danny's bed with Danny and his guitar, and it was, really romantic. And he just started playing some chords, and I tried.
Gave my love.
I just tried to sing, and I guess I did. It was okay, I guess. And he was like, dude, you could kind of sing. And then I went to a practice, and I kind of knew a lot of the old songs already because I was a fan. I was listening to the tape, and I don't really know what happened, man. They wanted to make a change, and I dove in. And a few weeks later, went to a couple rehearsals, and my first show was in Providence, Rhode Island, opening up for the Agents and the Pie Tasters. Dickie Barrett was there.
Wow.
And I shit the bed hard, dude. I was atrocious. I was terrible. I was really, really bad. I ran around too much, and I got winded super quick, and I didn't bring water on stage with me.
Oh.
And I, like, 3 songs in,
pace yourself.
I had nothing left. My voice wouldn't make noise anymore.
Wow.
And it was, I can't even imagine how bad it was. And then we had a show the next night in somewhere in Pennsylvania, and I think, maybe we were playing with the Pie Tasters there too.
Was it in Scranton or something, or Philly?
It was in, it was in like a smaller town.
Oh, okay.
It was some place that like the mob ran, and it was weird. But that was like
Lancasters, those Amish.
It was like unsaid, but it was like if I did a bad job again, that would, that wasn't the right gig for me. But I think I did a better job, and I paced myself, and I brought water, and I thought a little bit more about, what went into the set and stuff. And I remember after that show, they were like, hey, dude, you want to be in the band? I was like, hell yeah, man, I want to be in the band. That was it. The rest, as they say.
I always remembered you guys having like this huge light up setup from Chris, and but I was like wondering why you guys always like went all out for like these tiny ass clubs.
Stupid.
Like, it's just,
we're idiots.
Just the whole rock star approach.
So I love Chris, man. Chris Grosick was a good dude, Seymour guy, and he was just this high school kid that was in my brother's class, and was into lighting, right? And I don't even remember how I learned that he existed, but maybe my brother had said, hey, I got this guy who, loves doing lighting. Do you guys need a lighting guy? Of course we need a lighting guy. We're gonna go play the Newtown Teen Center next week. We need lights. And I remember at first he was building lights out of like empty paint cans and like wire and stuff himself. Like he didn't have a budget, and we didn't have a budget. And so that was one of the great things about guys like Sean Grant, who used to sell merch for us, and Chris Grosick, is
he used to do comics for you, like the t-shirts.
Yeah,
right.
He would do some design stuff for us, but those guys were, just like we were. They were cheap dates, right? They were just happy to be there. So that's the first thing, right? I mean, a normal band has to pay a lighting guy a salary or a stipend. Mm-hmm. And Chris was just happy to hang out and be a part of it. And so, what little money we would give him, he would just go buy more lights. And so you're right. We would show up and play for 40 people at a firehouse in New Jersey, and we'd play, third out of 4 bands or third out of 5 bands. And we'd have to have them have like the house lights shut off so that we could do our light show. And we'd be the only band that would do that. And we did that because we had Chris. That's it, right?
Yeah. I remember he reached out to me. It was because I think I took photos of you guys, and he's like, you guys really captured the lighting and stuff like that. So
I was a lighting geek.
Yeah, so I would do like some designs for him, I think, with like logos, and just was always in touch with him over the years, but I've lost touch with him, so I don't know what's going on, if you guys are still in touch with him or not. But
yeah, not as much anymore. And it's just like, we were so over the top, and I think that added an element of difficulty to everything we did. And so I think in the new world, we're like, we're just not going to go quite that far.
Yeah.
Although I miss it, man. I miss
Maybe just the hometown shows.
I miss just the ridiculous smoke machines. I mean, we played shows where he lit off pyrotechnics. We didn't get
not a good idea.
No. It's a very bad idea. When I look back, I'm like, dude, we are very lucky that we didn't kill people or get in trouble. But I remember playing a show somewhere, and he lit off some pyro. It was orchestrated. It wasn't like we knew it.
Yeah.
We were encouraged. We were like, yeah, like at this point in the set, this time in the song, you're gonna light off these, bombs or whatever. I remember looking at Dave one time, and I was like drinking a sip of water during a break in a song where I didn't have to sing, and Dave was playing drums and also yelling, "Am I on fire? Am I on fire?" Because he thought he was on fire, and that was just a normal show. Probably wasn't even a big show. It was probably just a show. That was the let's just act like we're huge rock stars.
That's a good approach sometimes. Yeah,
it worked out pretty well.
If you can get away with it, yeah.
I think we got away with it.
Yeah,
we did all right.
It's why I asked.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Do you guys ever go on the Warped Tour?
We never did. That
just ended. So I was just curious if you ever had any stories about that.
No, unfortunately we didn't. We never got asked. So that was a little above our pay grade, I guess. We were supposed to. When we had a manager for a little while. We had a couple different managers, but we had one guy who had a connection to get us on the Snowcore tour. Do you remember that?
Snowcore, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we had some dates booked, and it had something to do with us filling in for the Aquabats because they couldn't play on Saturdays or Sundays because of their Mormonism or something.
Really?
Something like that. And so I think we were supposed to play Portland, Maine, and somewhere in Pennsylvania, and I don't remember what happened, but we never ended up doing it. So we never got on any. We did Ska Against Racism, just the Connecticut leg of that, which was
20 years ago. I was trying to get Matt Flood to do that this year, but it
didn't happen. It'd be good to bring that back.
I think it's kind of relevant still.
Unfortunately, it didn't. It didn't solve racism. The Ska Against Racism tour, believe it or not.
Ska will do it.
But damn, that was a good show, man. MU330 was on that, right? Kamiri, Less Than Jake. Like, what a crazy-ass show that was.
And then Toasters at the end, and then everyone came on stage at
Unbelievable.
the end.
Yeah. That was one of the best shows we've ever played.
Yeah.
That was so exciting to just be a part of that.
Do you remember going to shows at CC's and Music PA?
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, so I get that confused. We were talking before about where the second show was. I think that was at a place called Spanky's in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay, so that's a little further down.
But so Vince, I remember Vince was the guy we booked with at CC's.
Yes. We used to always make fun of the way he did it because we would have to call to get on the guest list. He's like, Vince, and you got the Toasters, and he's like this strong Pennsylvania accent, like starting as Scagnetti.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, how you doing? I got this band, Real Big Fish, coming in. You ever hear of them?
Yes.
Yeah, Vince, I've heard of them. You want to go on that show? Yeah, Vince, that'd be great. It was the most people in bands will know, it's not easy sometimes to get on shows, right? I mean, it gets easier at certain points in your life, but we opened for Real Big Fish there, Nerf Herder, Buck 09, all at CC's, and it would literally just be this was the old days. You had to mail a package, you had to call, you had to catch Vince when he was near a phone, but Vince would call me. Hey, Steve, how you doing? You want to open this sick show? Now, Vince never paid us anything.
Oh, wow.
Maybe $50 or something. But, we would sell, $1,000 worth of merch.
Okay, so it makes up for that.
It was great.
Didn't get a cut for that or anything like that?
No, never, no. But that was the deal with Vince is you knew, he's going to put you on the show. He's not going to pay any of the opening bands because he's got a guarantee out for whoever he's going to pay for the headliner. And I don't know, maybe he paid some bands, but that was just a deal, and it was a pretty good drive for us.
Yeah,
but gas was pretty cheap back then, and
it was. It
was
like 80 something cents.
Because
I went to school. I went to school outside of Music or Scranton, Pennsylvania, and then it was a short drive for the two years that I went over there, but. Yeah,
Pennsylvania was always fun, man. There was always a ton of kids there, and they were always super receptive to what we were doing.
That's not necessarily the case for certain ska shows at CC's because some of it would be like either it was a Buck 09 or Toasters that would get a full club, but it was like certain bands that was just maybe us and the other bands.
Gotcha.
And it's like, oh god, it's so awkward.
That was great. Was Vince was smart enough, I guess, to be like he knew we probably couldn't carry the show, but he knew that we would put on a good 30-minute set, and we'd warm up for whoever. We played with the Toasters out there. I mean, it was always a pretty good crowd, but I think we only played like the good shows, right?
Yeah. And then I was looking at a review last night, and it was from the New Movements tour, and you guys were supposed to play it, but I said in the review that you guys canceled at the last minute because you thought the club closed down.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. That was supposed to be at Moosic too?
Yeah,
yeah.
At CC's, yeah. So it was right around that time when I think the club was getting down to closing, which I was ashamed. I liked sitting on the speaker stacks and just watching.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole weird side space where the bands would like kind of leave their stuff, and there was like a bar over there that wasn't really functioning, and you could like hang out over there.
Like a goth kid running the board.
I don't remember. I don't remember the sound guy at all.
Yeah, I remember. I remember.
Right.
'Cause I've been there's so many the hardcore shows there were the best, just because everyone's just hardcore dancing and stuff in this little club. But I remember there was like a huge skinhead fight and hardcore kid fight in the parking lot. I was like, oh, it was a good club.
I remember didn't Vince's mom?
It was his dad. It was
his mom.
I think it was his dad that was running the front door, and
running
he was
the front
always
door.
an asshole.
He was a mean man. Yeah, he was a mean man. But I swear I remember.
It's like, let me stamp your hand.
I remember. Yeah, we didn't like kids. I swear I remember his mom like yelling at him one time when we were loading in, like, Vince, and he was like, all right, Ma, I got it. It's just like, dude, this is awesome. That was one of my favorite places that we would play with any regularity. And with every other place you kind of had to work to get in, and it was just so easy with Vince. Like, you want to come play with this band that's on MTV? Yeah, like, yeah, okay, Vince, that'll be good. We'll be there.
Yeah, he'd always ask us like, who should we get? I'm like, yeah, like get them. No, don't get them. Yeah. Do you ever go? You went to Skaters Club Skaters World.
Yeah,
sorry.
Skaters World. We played there a few times.
Yeah.
That was always fun. We'd I remember just being like all covered in sweat from playing like hours of air hockey before we would actually play.
That's
play
what I loved
set.
about it was just like you can play all the stuff as you're listening to music.
Skaters World was big, and then we used to go to the Cove in Roselle.
I don't think
quite a bit.
I never went to the Cove. No,
that place was really, really fun. I know we played with Catch-22 there. I don't remember who else.
The Wetlands was always one of the best.
Yeah, I only got to play there a couple times before it showed up, but I think we did
that was after 9/11. Yeah,
we did the Moonscott compilation that we were on, the Scarmageddon release party. We got to play at Wetlands there.
I think I went to that,
which was really, really fun. And we would play. Where else would we play in the city?
Have you ever went in Europe though, or anything? No, never went over there.
No, we would go. We went down to Florida and back a couple times.
West Coast?
Never West Coast.
Wow.
No, we're pretty much New England, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Like I said, toured down to Florida, so did the Carolinas and Virginia and stuff a few times. But that was about it. We always wanted to go.
Yeah,
always wanted to go further, but.
I always saw like those Goldfish and stuff were always in Europe, but I mean they were on Moon and
yeah, we never did the label thing, man. We just never had.
I guess you released it on your own, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. We did have a manager for a while, the first round, and one of the guys was like connected with the Bad Brains and Island Records, and we had like a contract, the whole thing, man. And we showed it to some lawyers and that were friends of ours, and they were like, "This isn't really that great of a,
Yeah.
And we were really young.
Typical
so this was like
contract.
when like Lana was still in the band, like to take you back to like how
I remember.
when this was happening, and it was right when things were really picking up. And I remember these guys; they were nice guys, and I think they meant well, and we were just not ready for like what they were throwing our way. And then I think after that it just sort of fizzled, and we're such control freaks too back then that I don't think we would have done well because we didn't listen to people, and we only did what we wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And so having these two guys who were telling us what to do just didn't work very well.
I'd probably be the same way if I was in a band. I'm like, I'd rather just do everything myself. Yeah.
So so there was always like Edna's and Big D and those guys like were able to like I think because I think there was a time when I would say we were pretty on even par with those guys. Like,
yeah.
But they were definitely smarter than we were and worked harder and stuck with it longer. And
I mean, you definitely played all the same. A lot of the shows I went to, like the Chants and stuff too.
For sure.
And the
But we threw it all away. We threw it all away because of our.
Did we go over that yet? Why did you break up, or just?
No, I don't. We haven't talked about that, okay. But I don't know, man. I think we were sick of each other. We had a couple people in the band, I think, that were in charge of things, and then a couple people in the band that weren't. And then, people who weren't in charge of things would have opinions about the way things were done, and people would get mad. The people who did the thing would get upset. And I think we were just, it had run its course. And what's funny too is we were probably the biggest we had been. So it wasn't like, our last couple shows were huge shows. Our last show was in Hartford. And I think it was sold out. There's like 1,800 people there.
Wow.
And so we were just thinking, like, let's get out. I think we were starting to see that the other bands were struggling at the time. I think it was
around
99.
Around the ska turned into emo.
It was starting to be not cool to be in a ska band. And so I think we were thinking, like, look, we're the biggest we ever were in Connecticut. But I think we were starting to see, all right, going to Boston, going to Pennsylvania, going to these places that we like to go, going down to D.C., like, was getting harder. Mm-hmm. And I think the shows were getting more lightly attended. And so we were like, well, where's this going, right? Like, what do we, do we just want to play Connecticut 3 times a year? And we were sort of like, no. And it was, I think it was more about we were just done. Like, we needed a break. We needed a 20-year break.
So how do you see the current ska scene and what has changed over the years? I mean, we talked about the digital, releasing that kind of stuff, but anything else do you see different?
So far, I would say with the bands that we have had the pleasure of playing with in modern times here, that the musicianship is stronger. I think there were so many bands back then, and you would play with, people
so many
bands
right out of high school, and the band, high school band.
I think part of that was right. It was a lot of high school kids, right? So they were just young kids, and they were just having fun, and they probably weren't taking it that seriously. Their songwriting aspect of it, all that seriously, which is fine. The bands we've been playing with thus far, I think they're taking it a little more seriously. Mm-hmm. I think there's less. We're probably not playing with the high school bands because we're 40 years old. Also, we're not 22 years old.
I just hit that 40.
Sorry, man. Yeah, you're like halfway dead, so that's cool.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, other than that, I don't know. Everything feels sort of the same, right? The clubs still smell bad, and
there's still lightly attended shows every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, you have some good ones and some bad ones.
But
yeah, I'm not expecting a hell of a lot of. I'm not expecting to change the world tonight.
There's actually a lot of other shows, New York City, but I don't. Yeah, whatever. I came just to see you guys.
I appreciate that. I don't know, man. Our expectations are pretty low. Like we played some shows out of state. Some have been better than others.
Yeah. How would you play last night, right, in Massachusetts?
Yeah, we played last night in Massachusetts. Not the
greatest.
Not the greatest. The bands we played with were great. We played with a band called Power Up, who, if they decide you want to care about them, you should. They were really, really great. And the guys Sonic Libido we played with last night, we're playing with tonight. They're from Maine. They're really good as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't worry too much. I think some of the other guys in the band worry a little more, like, how many people are going to be there? I'm like, to me, it's like, it doesn't, you can't, you promote, you do a good job, you put it on the internets, and if people show, it's cool, and if they don't, it's cool. I've always been a fan, like, at more adverse audiences, and like where the arms folded, I feel like I do better.
Oh, really?
Kind of enjoy a little more adversity.
Try to win them over.
Yeah, you just got to work a little bit harder, or you can just say, well, this isn't happening, and then you can just kind of enjoy yourself for what it is. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong; it's fun to play in front of tons of people too. But I've been doing this long enough that I've played a fair share of like really lightly attended shows or shows that are well attended, but people just don't like us. We're just on the wrong bill, and it's not the right room. And I probably have more memories about those shows than like the really, really good ones, because you probably play more of the not so good ones.
Who's like the most obscure or like different kind of band that you've opened up for? I know like Mephistopheles opened up for Guar, so that's like an instance of like anything.
So
like
before
that.
I was in the band, Scagnetti got to play a Yukon Spring Weekend and open for the Notorious Big, which is pretty awesome.
Those college shows really want to mix it up.
They really mix it up. I think Soul Coughing may have been on that bill as well. We opened for Cypress Hill.
Oh, wow.
At a college show. That was pretty. We didn't make a hell of a lot of sense on that.
Yeah, how did the crowd?
There wasn't much of a crowd left.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I think technically Cypress Hill opened for us. I think we played after them, so I think a lot of people left. other than that, I'm trying to think. We played with a lot of really random bands. Godsmack opened for us once.
Wow.
We played a show, I think also a college show. And I found a flyer, and they were like third on the bill, and we were fifth.
It's funny. Yeah.
So, you run into a lot of random, probably more people than I even realized. I'm sure we played with people that, were in bands, and now they're in some other band, and they're probably really big. And
it's like I remember seeing Scava the Hut, and now the guy was like in the Bravery, and
that's right.
And then like some other guys did some other TV shows, and like it's weird just seeing how like certain people you grew up listening to, and then they're like famous. Or
yeah. Everybody's got to be in a ska band in high school to get to wherever they're going to go.
So I mean, what are you guys doing like full-time jobs? Like what do you do?
So I work in market research, which I've been doing for the last 15 years.
Like an agency, or?
I don't work for an agency. I work for a supplier to agencies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been doing that for a while?
Been doing it for a long time. So I guess it's what I do.
You're a market researcher. Okay.
Yeah. Man, the rest of the band, Richie does some like art installation stuff and some construction stuff, and I don't know what Justin does. He does some tech stuff, and Dave builds helicopters.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Carmela's a music teacher, school teacher.
Are they're married?
They are.
Oh,
yeah.
I was looking. I'm like, wait, they have the same name.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. Carm and Dave are married, which is actually tonight you're gonna see of a hindered version of the band without Carm. Carm is home.
Watch the kids.
Carm's home with the kids because we 2 nights in a row is a little much.
Okay.
So we had some scheduling conflict. So you will be missing alto saxophone, lots of keyboards, and lots of pretty vocals. So you're gonna hear my mediocre voice. She covers a lot of sins. So you should maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe pick the wrong show. I don't know. We'll do the best.
It's somewhat close by, and I haven't seen you in about 19 years, so
it'll be okay.
I'm like Gaslight Anthem in Asbury Park, or I'll start Scagnetti. I was closer by. It's closer.
You did the right thing.
Because every time I go to Asbury Park, something happens. It's like I went to punk rock bowling a few years ago and ended up throwing up, and I had like a stomach virus. It was like the first time I ever threw up in a concert. I was just like, I was trying to shoot Coxbar, and I just was like,
that's no good.
And then another time it was like a Fat Wreck show with like no effects, and I got a flat tire. So it's like every time it's just something at Asbury Park. So I'm like, all right, man,
Asbury Park. Come to Clifton, beautiful Clifton.
Clifton. This is actually the first time I've ever been to Clifton, and I've been in this area, but I had really no reason. I mean, I knew the Clash Bar existed, but I never really.
It seems like a great place. I feel like it was definitely a strip club. Maybe
it's probably.
Yeah.
Is there a stripper pole?
There's beams.
That was like CC's. Was almost. I felt like it was a strip.
CC's used to feel like maybe it probably also had been.
And now it's a car dealership, I think.
It's a car dealership?
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, what else are you gonna put in music PA? But so you have a few new songs out, but I guess you said you're probably gonna do like an EP, right?
I think that's the most. It just takes us a while, right? I mean, we really can get together like once a week.
So how do you do like recording? Do you guys just do it all like on like your MacBooks or something like that, or you like and then go book time to do in the studio?
Yeah, so we got a great studio guy, Greg, who works for a place called Firehouse 12, which is where we recorded the two or newer songs, and where we will record any future songs I'm sure of. But like when we're working the songs, we're throwing ideas back and forth via Dropbox. And honestly, man, we're still trying to figure out how do we write songs as the first two songs we sort of pieced together. It was kind of me and Richie, and then others added things to it. But now that we've got, I'll tell you this: 7 of us in a room looking at each other, trying to force creativity, doesn't work.
Well, you can do the easy thing and just re-record some old songs from the first cassette.
Yeah.
You gotta, there's a few. I think there's still a few good songs on there that you can kind of maybe tweak it, maybe rewrite it, maybe.
I'm open to anything. Talk to Dave and Rich, man. Those are the guys with the.
Or take the easy route and do cover or something.
No, we'll be all right. We're gonna write some new songs. We've got some really good ideas for some new songs. We've got we have a new song, that we're super excited about. I think it's gonna be a hit. As whatever that means for us
with the kids,
it's gonna be a hit with the kids. And then the others, it's funny you mentioned it's a hit with the kids because it's a song about how we need to create a hit for the kids.
Well, you can do like aquabats and sing about like children's songs or something like that. Then you'll.
Well, that's what's interesting. So the angle is I don't want to spill too much, but the angle is so you've got a young child.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Lori Berkner?
No.
She is a musician who creates music for children.
Okay.
I watched a lot of her videos and listened to a lot of her songs.
Like a rappy kind of or whatever.
Yeah, like a slightly cooler Raffi.
Okay.
Wiggles. She's the Lori. She's a Lori Berkner band, and just from watching her videos and listening to her songs, and I think she's very successful. And I could have read this entirely wrong. I feel like her heart's not in it. I feel like she's a children's band so that she can eat
and get money.
And I feel like while I can't criticize that. Whatever works,
just
right?
Capitalize on the
However
kids.
you pay the bills. So part of the angle of the song is to take her out and encourage a younger fan base to gravitate towards Sergeant,
Take her out,
Sergeant
meaning
Skag.
like.
We're just gonna say.
Well, I mean, it's not the darkest song you've done. I mean, you guys have sung about having sex with corpses, so
it's true. It's true. And it's funny, you know, a lot of those songs I wrote when I was however old I was, 20, 21, 22. And it was a different time. And so you sing those songs now, and like there's a couple songs where I'm like, we shouldn't play this song anymore.
it hasn't aged well.
This song hasn't aged. Dr. Thunder has not aged well.
That's like
in
Emery 330's stuff song hasn't really aged well either. It's like
Exactly.
certain ska songs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you take it with a grain of salt and say it's tongue in cheek, it's fine. But if you take some of the lyrics as though they were intended and they were not a joke, then maybe don't listen to those. But yeah, so we're gonna
do like weekend kind of shows and not really thing.
Yeah, man, we
extensive.
love Saturdays. If anybody's booking shows, man, we like a Saturday show.
Me too.
That's where we shine.
I can finally get
You know?
to shows on Saturday
Because we have time to get there and we have time to recover. And we've turned down a ton of shows because it's like a really good show, but it's Tuesday night, and we're just like, it's just not gonna. We're just not gonna be able to do that and function as humans. So
and then
thanks,
there's usually
but
like
no thanks.
4 other bands. Stop with the 5-band shows.
Yeah, this is a 5-band show tonight. That's it's 3.5 too many bands.
I
think 3's the right number.
Yeah, 3.
I think 3's the right number, especially midweek.
Yeah, I mean weekend maybe
8, 9, 10.
4 the max, and then
Agreed.
maybe 20 minutes set for the opener or something. But
Yeah,
that's shortchanging.
I think we're 3rd out of 5 tonight, which is perfect. I love playing around 10:30.
Yeah, I mean,
Any
if I don't feel
later
like
than that is
sticking around, which I probably won't, but
Yeah.
I'll get home in time.
Yeah.
All right, so it's before we go, I have a little thing I do. I started to do it with Roger from Rude Boy George.
Cool.
It's called Jeff Goldblum Trivia.
All right.
You think you know anything about the Goldblum?
I don't know much. I would imagine.
Okay.
My guess is I know very little.
Well, if you win 5 out of 5, you
Okay.
get a prize.
Oh, man.
All right, so let's go. I gotta have an intro.
Life finds a way.
What are we waiting for? Let's do it.
All right, so number 1. What was the name of Jeff Goldblum's character in Thor Ragnarok? Was it Gamekeeper, Grandmaster, Game Master, or Trapper Keeper?
Is he Game Master?
Is that your final answer?
No, it must be Gamekeeper.
No.
No.
Oh man, I just watched this like a month ago.
It's Grandmaster.
Grandmaster. So I
Yes.
don't get the
All
prize.
right, well, yeah.
Damn it.
But we can keep going. We'll keep going.
I feel like that was my best chance to answer one too.
I thought these are pretty easy, but maybe it's because I'm Goldblum obsessed, or as it seems, it's just a running gag that we've been doing over the years.
I support it. I support it fully.
All right.
He was great in that movie, by the way.
Yes. It's just the
I didn't remember
lead
his name,
scenes. Grandmaster. All right, number 2. What Wes Anderson movie hasn't the Goldblum been in? Was it Rushmore, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, I Love Dogs, or Grand Budapest Hotel?
Rushmore?
Yes.
Good job.
Thank you. You could feel my confidence as
Yes.
I said Rushmore.
Number 3. What movie is this quote from? Help me be human. Is it Jurassic Park, Earth Girls Are Easy?
It's The Fly.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I mean, I think that was kind of a softball. All right.
Appreciate that. Should have started with that one.
Yeah.
Damn it.
To celebrate number 4, to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Jurassic Park, there was a Dr. Ian Malcolm statue recently displayed near a landmark. Which landmark was it? Was it the Eiffel Tower, Big Ben Parliament, Tower Bridge, or the Leaning Tower of Pisa?
I'm pretty sure it was in London.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the Tower of London.
Well, it's Tower Bridge. Yeah, Tower. Yeah, it's a Tower Bridge.
Tower.
Yeah,
the Tower.
Tower Bridge.
Yes, yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay. You're doing all right.
I'm doing okay.
You're doing a lot better than Roger. Roger got like every one of them wrong.
Oh, well, he doesn't know anything about Jeff
I know.
Goldblum, clearly.
All right, last question. What was the name of the character Jeff Goldblum played in the movie The Player? I haven't seen it, but I'm sure, I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I don't even know.
It was Griffin Mill, Walter Stuckle, Tom Oakley, or Jeff Goldblum?
Ooh. Now, did you give me Goldblum is that a layup, or is that just like the obvious one you throw out?
I don't know.
I like the Stucker.
No.
It was actually, he played himself.
He played himself. Damn it.
I can give you a sticker anyway. You did pretty well.
I did okay.
Well, you got 3, I think.
That's a 60.
Yeah.
Is that passing?
That's sort
65?
of passing. I'll let you. That was passing grade. You got some homework to do on Jeff
I do.
Goldblum.
I do. I'll do better next time.
But all right, you had a good time talking with you.
Yeah, man.
And,
Thanks, Ryan.
And have a good show.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.